Example number 1 for exception handling. So we're going to input two numbers and determine the quotient. For the two input numbers, we're going to assign the first number for the numerator and the second number is for the denominator. So take note, if the second number or the denominator is 0, we're going to make use of the exception handling method. So how are we going to do that? Okay. So let's have first the main program. So for the main program, let's have the declaration first. So again, we're going to declare integer value for the two numbers, or let's make it double. Okay, to accept with fractional components, and we're going to display the value with fractional numbers. So let's say, for example, I'm going to make use of nume for the numerator, and deno for the denominator. Okay, so and then what else? Okay, so I'm going to make use of let's make use of double, and then let's have quotient. So to process the quotient. Okay, so that's the declaration. So for the executable, so I'm going to display first enter value for the numerator. So for the numerator, we're not going to test anything from the numerator because any number from the numerator is acceptable, whether it is 0, a positive number, or a negative number. So let's just have cin and then nume. Okay. Next, for the denominator, we need to use the exception handling method. So first is I'm going to ask the user to enter value for the denominator. Then, instead of putting already the cin here, I'm going to make use of the try throw catch method. So let's make the word try begin and end. Okay. Try begin and end. And then, if there is a try, there's also a catch block. Catch, parentheses, begin and end. Okay? So within the try, we're going to include the throw syntax. So let's first do the try block. So what's the content of the try block? Statements to be executed if the value entered is unusual. So let's make cin first here. Enter value for the denominator, cin. Then I'm going to use the variable deno. Then here, I'm going to include if statement if deno is equal to 0. If denominator is equal to 0, then we're going to use the throw syntax and we're going to throw deno. Okay? Since deno is equal to 0, so that means it is unusual to input a 0 value in the denominator. So we're going to throw the deno. Okay? Then I still have put more codes here. If this is false, then we're going to perform another instance of codes within the try block. And what's that? Performing what? Performing in getting the quotient already. Okay, so how are we going to do that? So if this is false, we're going to proceed here and compute for the quotient. So quotient equals nume divided by deno, semicolon. Then coming to use cout, for example, nume divided by deno equals quotient and L. And then let's have two decimal places. I'm going to put another line here of cout, fixed, and then set precision, parentheses 2, semicolon. So that's the more code. So again, for the try block, we're going to input the variable to be tested. Then we test it within the use of the if statement. If this statement is true, then we're going to make use of the throw syntax to throw the unusual value. Okay, if this is false, then we have more codes to be executed, and that is getting the quotient and displaying the numerator divided by the denominator equals the quotient. Okay? Now, for the try block. So again, for the try block, whatever is the declaration of our variable, which is the variable deno is double, so I'm going to make this as double. Then I'm going to use a parameter variable. Let's make it x deno, okay, for the parameter variable. So that means when we throw deno, deno will handle by x deno. Okay, then we're going to make use of the statement here like cout x deno, okay, is invalid. And then I'll just display same thing as what is the displayed here. Cannot divide by 0. So cannot divide by 0. Okay? So that's actually what are we going to make use when we are testing and validating the input for the denominator. So let's try to run this code first. So this is EPC. Okay? So enter value for the numerator. So if that is 0 and then 9, so that is acceptable. So if that is acceptable, this is false. It will continue to the more codes and process the quotient, which is nume divided by deno. And the value is 0.00. Since we fix the value of the decimal places into 2 decimal. Okay. Next, let's run again the code. So what if I have 8 divided by 9? So again, the value is, the resulting value is 0.89 because the denominator is not 0. So it will not throw an exception and it will not fall into catch block. So that means, again, if this is false, then we're going to proceed to the more codes. Let's run again the code lastly. What if I input 9 and then I input 0? Okay, so if our denominator is 0, then we're going to throw the exception, throwing the value of deno, which is 0, denominator. So that means it will already ignore this portion because after this, it will automatically proceed to line number 33, which is the catch block. So again, if this is true, the rest of the more codes within the try block will be omitted or disregarded already. Take note of that. So automatically, it will throw the exception, which is deno. Automatically, it will jump to catch block. Okay? And it will display 0 is invalid, cannot divide by 0. So let's try to enter. Okay? So again, if the denominator is 0, 0 is invalid. So this is the x deno, which is actually the deno variable that handled represented by the x deno, and display cannot divide by 0.